With the release of a new skill comes the inevitable race to World First 99 and more recently World First 120. Even more inevitable are the slews of maxed players complaining about losing their capes and comp capers trying to justify why losing their comp cape just because they aren't maxed makes total sense. Don't be mistaken. Much as I'd love to go top speed on Mr. Bones' wild necromancy ride, I have no delusions of world firsting anything. I got videos to make, you know? Rather than competing with the rest of the player base when necromancy does go live, I'm gonna compete with Jagex themselves. Can I get a comp cape before they flip the skeleton switch? I'm not that far off actually. Most of my time will be sunk into the most painstaking of all achievements in the game, unlocking Bones to Peaches. 120 dungeoneering might take a while too. So before death sent me back in time, dropping me into old school Runescape, it was contrived as well, just don't think too much about it. I was on the Laceration boot grind. I was farming tons of Slayer points, skipping dozens of tasks, and all around burning myself out from bad RNG. Over 4,000 Ripper dinosaurs killed, and no boots. Not even one boot, let alone a whole pair. Those dinos alone were worth over 8 million Slayer XP. Plus, all the XP from other tasks I did on the way should make it obvious why my Slayer level is so much higher than it was the last time we met. I'm at 117 now. Some of that XP came from maxing out my fort's guardhouse. After doing each of the first 3 special challenges the Raptor gives you, he rewards you with a trophy to hang on your guardhouse wall. Having all 3 trophies is a comp cape requirement, so it only made sense to get this achievement sorted before even thinking about the grind to 120 Slayer. The trophies themselves give slight bonuses to the Raptor's tasks. Each increases the Slayer points awarded from his tasks by 5% additively. The second trophy lets you get 25% more or less monsters assigned by him, and the last causes your bone fragments that drop on the task to be automatically picked up. Hand them into the Raptor and you get a little bit of Slayer XP. It's a nice little thing. He's only got a 1 in 50 chance to assign a special task, so it takes a little while to get them, but every time you do one of his tasks, the chances of getting a special task increases by but every time you do one of his tasks, the chances of you getting assigned a special task increases by 1 in 50. For instance, if you do 9 tasks, you have a 10 in 50 chance of him assigning a special task, 20%. But if you skip a task, that invisible counter resets to 0 and you go back to 1 in 50. Doing a special task resets the counter as well. Oh, what am I doing? I'm getting ahead of myself. The guardhouse. This was released during my hiatus. It's pretty great. At tier 3, you deal 1% more damage on Slayer assignments, 2% if your target is undead. Elite monsters have a 6% greater chance to spawn. Pokeballs are 5% better. You deal an additional 10% damage to Slayer targets below 25% health. And finally, the most interesting perk, ultimate abilities have a 3% chance to execute non-boss Slayer targets. This is per hit, by the way. A Zook Cape empowered Deadshot hits 7 times for only 60% adrenaline. Each hit has a 3% chance to instantly kill the target, so every Deadshot has around a 20% chance to execute even Abyssal Lords. Pretty good. I believe a Zook Cape empowered Omnipower also has multiple chances to proc the tier 3 perk, but it's only 4 hits, not 7. Something I'm really curious about though. If Tsunami hits multiple targets, could it proc on multiple targets and execute more than one? Someone get on that, do some research. Other than that, the Slayer grind is going to be a pretty standard thing. Get a task, kill the enemies, get another task, kill more enemies. I think Lania K is still the optimal Slayer Master to use. I could be wrong, but some of Raptor's tasks are kind of nice and really easy, like kill 80 Anku. Yeah, sure. Why not? That's easy points, but it's not a lot of XP. I'll probably just stick with Lania Kea. Although the update with the Raptor has made being able to kill Enemu a little bit more valuable. That requires 115 dungeoneering, and we'll talk about that later in the video. But right now I want to quickly touch on Herblore. Herblore goes to 120. We're sitting quite comfortably at 116, so we're technically more than halfway between level 1 and 120. What progress? It's a 30 million XP hike to 120, which seems like a staggering amount, but with how much XP high level concoctions like Power Burst of Vitality and Vuln Bombs give, it shouldn't be all that tough. 30 million XP is only like 30,000 Vuln Bombs. I mean, come on, you guys don't have 30,000 Dwarfweed lying around? All joking aside, I was stocking up on ingredients to make 1,000 Elder Overload salves. I've got thousands of Cadentine and Dinosaur Claws to make sticky bombs, tons of charms for charming potions, plenty of various power bursts to make. I haven't calculated the total XP I have banked, mostly because the various ingredient saving procs and XP boosts get me all kinds of turned around, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't worth at least 15 million XP. The 4,000 charming potions alone is over 4 million XP. What's bottlenecking my progress is actually training Herblore. Ain't that the way it always is? Finally, there's Dungeoneering, the lowest of my skills, or at least the ones I haven't maxed yet. 111, and I think I want to get to at least 115 before I really go hard into the Slayer grind. As I said earlier, Enemu. With undead cluster tasks now a thing, there's no better time to start grinding them. I'm sure I could still find a use for the Blood Amulet of Fury somewhere, maybe. I think they're good XP, and you know, there's a lot of alkables and stuff, and I don't know, it just just be nice to be able to kill them, and access to that motherlode maw once a day could be pretty useful. So because it's my lowest skill, you know what I mean, it's going to be the one getting all the XP lamps. Daily challenges, dungeoneering. Incubated effigy lamps, dungeoneering. Penguins, dungeoneering. Tears of Guthics, dungeoneering. Face hand, in shambles. If I extend my daily challenges, I can get a bit under 300,000 dungeoneering experience every single day. Not a whole lot considering I'm still over 60 million XP away from 120, but running shifting tombs 6 times only takes about 6 minutes. You don't even have to run them flawlessly, just enter the tomb and run straight for the rope, and it counts for the challenge. I do like to destroy the urns and open the chests on the way though, if I happen to pass by them. The urns give you some gold, or XP if you have one of the braziers toggled on, and give you a buff that causes you to mine with a Dragon Ball energy blast. It's nice just in case the way out is behind a huge wall of rocks that just lets you cut through them really quick. The chests contain feathers of Ma'at, and we'll need a ton of them on the way to 120 Slayer. Yeah, you could buy them from that guy outside the Sophonim Slayer dungeon, but these ones are free. Who hates free? Also, there's a slim chance of getting an offhand Kopesh, so why not roll those dice when I get the chance? I got a Kopesh on my How Fast to Max account. It was worth about 100 mil at the time. It was a nice little windfall. Here's a link to the playlist of that series. I cringe while watching it, but maybe you won't. I think there's maybe like 2 or 3 good jokes in there somewhere. So beyond that and the various weekly XP lamps, the only thing I can do to train dungeoneering is to dungeoneer. Yeah, you get some XP in the elite dungeons, but it's not really a lot, so I'd probably just stick to the actual Demonheim dungeoneering. I have a plan to improve the grind, however. I've already purchased pretty much everything I want to purchase with tokens, all the really good stuff, gold accumulator, various blueprints, all the scrolls, your typical dungeoneering items. The only thing I actually should buy before I go too much further into this grind is the Demonheim skill door boost unlock. It's just a permanent +4 boost to opening all skill doors. It even stacks with the Juju potion and the elite outfit for a maximum of +9. There ends up basically being no skill requirements at all. And for those who haven't done the Demonheim task set yet, one of them requires you to use a tier 5 or higher portent of passage to get through a skill door. Don't buy these upgrades until you finish that achievement, because if you have all of these upgrades and you don't have any skill doors that you can't get through, then you're not going to be able to use this portent of passage. I don't know why you'd have enough tokens to buy these upgrades without having already done those achievements, but if you haven't, here's a warning. So yeah, back to the plan. After getting that unlock, I'll either upgrade my ring a bit further or spend a bunch of my tokens on Garajo wild cards. There are a few useless cards, but the good ones are really good. The Cloning Mosquito doubles your tokens, and that means more cards. The Preening Ibis card multiplies the XP you get from the floor by 1.5 times, and the Thieving Locust card just doubles the floor's XP. You can stack some of the cards, but some of them you can't. I believe the XP ones you could stack together, so you could use an Ibis and a Thieving Locust on the same floor, and you get 2.5 times XP, but you can't get double tokens and double XP from using 2 separate cards. What's unfortunate is you're not really told this beforehand, so you could waste a lot of cards by doing that. So here's my warning to you: avoid using more than 1 card on the floor. You know, they kind of interact weird. So just use one. Stick with one. The Reversing Phoenix card can be useful for spawning extra Slayer creatures because the blood necklace that drops from the Edemu in dungeoneering is apparently very strong. I don't know exactly how strong, but I believe the recommendation from the elite dungeoneerers is to get rid of the Shadow Silk hood because it doesn't matter if things attack you since everything in there is so weak, and instead trade it out for a necklace that's pretty strong, just makes you do more damage, and you heal a little bit too from it. So if you do get hit by things that see you, it kind of counteracts it. There are also dungeoneering wildcards you get sometimes from the daily challenge streak rewards. They boost your XP and tokens by 50%. Obviously you'd want to save a lot of those for the deeper floors so you can get the most out of them, which leads me to floor skipping. Normally I spend around 35,000 tokens to bypass the frozen floors. Several of the bosses on the frozen floors can be a bit too time consuming to kill, and since I'm rushing floors 1 to 30 anyway, I don't mind missing out on the trivial bits of XP I could get. I could spend another 50,000 tokens and skip the first 17 floors, totally bypassing the Abandoned 1 section. The worst boss in the game lives in the Abandoned floors. If I can avoid it even somewhat, it'll be more than worth it. Furnished floors aren't too bad, although Stomp can be a bit fiddly sometimes. If I could justify spending 250,000 tokens to skip all the way to floor 30, I totally would. I'll have to track how many tokens I actually get from all the occult and warped floors. I don't think it's enough to balance out though, especially if I'm going to be buying Garajo cards. Oh, also, this is all with me soloing the floors. Listen, I know Ironman can dungeoneer in groups now, and I know it's way more efficient to do larges in groups, but I'm too fickle to be a good teammate. Sometimes I'll go ahead and binge 10 large dungeons in a row. Other times I'll just look at a dungeon and be done for the day. How's about this? As a compromise, I'll bring a party simulator with me for the higher level floors. We can pretend I wasn't alone. Well, maybe not. I mean, they don't actually give more XP for soloing. I guess it's a bug or something. They haven't given XP for quite a while. I guess emotional support? Aside from skill mastery, there are only 4 other achievements I need to complete. The Elven Titles achievement is exactly what it says. Unlock all 8 of the Elven clan titles. I already have 7 of them and I just need of the Kadarn. You get it after defeating 1,000 Kadarn elves. I only need about 400 more, so that won't take long. I'll probably get assigned an Elf Slayer task more than once, so I'll just get it then. There's Potion Mixer Master 2. I'm not sure why I never actually bought this one recipe, so let's just knock that out real quick. It's a totally deprecated recipe since Elder Overload's salves are superior in every way, but completion is completion. 1,000,000 coins for a whole lot of nothing. Then there's Music Maestro. I literally only have 3 music tracks left to unlock. One's from a dead minigame, the other is from a minigame that makes me want to be dead, and the third is from Dungeoneering, so that'll come when it comes. You need 113 Dungeoneering before Calgar the Warmonger shows up, so we'll unlock that track soon enough. There might be a Stealing Creation Discord I can use to find a game. I used to love this minigame back in the day. It wasn't really an efficient way of training mining since the time you spent in the minigame could be used to mine more granite, but the minigame was more enjoyable, so I'd argue the inefficiency was worth it. The Pirates of Penance track is unlocked on the final wave of Barbarian Assault. I'm sure I could find a team that could successfully get to the Queen, but it's not something I'm looking forward to. There's a diary task in Old School that requires getting a Queen kill, and when I did it a few years back, there was nothing more frustrating than getting to wave 9 and one rando just up and ghosting, forcing us all back to wave 1. There's probably a Discord for Barbarian Assault as well. This will likely be the last thing I do for the cape. Finally, Bones to Peaches. It shouldn't be too bad. Old School's Mage Training Arena has a bit more polish added to it, given some quality of life changes, but I'm sure I can manage regardless. You see in Old School, the Master Wand and some of the Infinity gear still has a use, so the Mage Training Arena gets a little more attention, but I'm sure I can manage regardless. I might just do a little bit here and there, get 10 or 20% of the needed points every day for a week. Something like that, just spread the grind out so it doesn't feel as bad. Alright, no time like the present. Let's get to work on Dungeoneering. And you know what? I'm even going to make a spreadsheet to track exactly how much XP I get per floor. I'm going to get the time, I'm going to get the actual XP, and the XP that's in the winter face, and it's going to be great. And I'll try to track the tokens, but the tokens can be kind of weird sometimes. But once I get enough of that information, then we'll figure out exactly how many floors would be too many to skip. And you may be wondering, what about the Master Quest Cape? That's an excellent question. Take care, everyone.